Go.
Good evening. It's March 22nd, Saturday, 2025. And it's my honor and pleasure to be sitting with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. How are you doing today, Mr. Jeckovich?
Great, I'm doing great.
You're looking well in your blue outfit.
New outfit.
I heard you had a special visitor today.
Oh, yeah.
Who'd you have today?
Amber.
And what did you guys do?
Huh?
What did you...
Well, I took her to lunch.
And what else?
Well, we had a big talk about this, about that.
So
And we had kids over to then.
was Amber here then?
Yeah.
And what did they have to say?
They were talking back and forth.
That was so nice. Amber is a wonderful girl. It's Mr. Jeckovich's great-granddaughter. And Amber is a full-time missionary. And she visits Mr. John J. Jeckovich. She visits Mr. John J. Jeckovich 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Amber is an avid surfer. She lives on the ocean. She can roll out and be in the sand. But I guess when you're an avid surfer like Amber, she travels all around the world surfing. Just came back from Malibu for 3 months. And thank God she just missed the fires. And then she was in Puerto Rico. The summers in Australia are just the opposite as the summers here. And also she was in several other European and cities such as Bahamas and things of that nature, surfers. So she's always chasing a wave. But the point of the story is she's a great girl, and when she's got the surfboard in one hand, she's got the bobble in the left hand, and she's always spreading the great word of Christ, and she spends a lot of time with Mr. Jeckovich. Mr. Jeckovich, what religion are you? What religion are you?
Catholic.
Was your mother a Roman Catholic?
Catholic, religiously.
And it was just based on the prayers of your mother, Anna Target Jeckovich, who said the rosary every night for you while you're in World War II, and the former nun Renee, who prayed the rosary for you every night. We believe that's the only reason why you made it out alive. That's the only reason you made it out alive. However, during the war, Mr. Jeckovich didn't go unscathed. He was shot in the shoulder by a sniper. He was beat up, stabbed, bombed,
Lost a hip.
Lost a hip, trench foot, frostbite. The list is long. The list is long, but he made it out, and for a centurion, he's in excellent condition. He reads 3 newspapers every morning with no glasses. He can shake your hand, and the strength can knock you to the ground. He's done it all, and his mind is like a library. And so if you want to ask any questions, text us anytime at 407-366-0000. Mr. Jeckovich was in the Battle of Bulge. That was the last battle he was into. And that's the time that they kicked the Germans' ass back to Berlin. There wasn't much left of Berlin. And then right after that, Hitler committed suicide. Mr. Jeckovich was from Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. One question before we start to read, someone wanted to ask you from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Are there any atheists in the foxholes?
No.
No. No is right. And keep in mind, this is March 22nd, 2025. It's Saturday in the 2nd week of Lent. And I think it's appropriate today we just read a few paragraphs about the 2nd week of Lent. The hidden faith. During the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, anti-Catholicism in England was so great that it was high treason for Catholic priests to minister in that country. So could you imagine, in England, it was high treason for a priest to have Mass in that country.
Oh, boy.
Yet there was one man, perhaps more than other, who helped keep the Catholic faith alive. Catholic faith alive is very strong right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We always believe as Roman Catholics, that there's two types of people. Those who are Catholics and those who want to be Catholics. I'll try to make you laugh.
Yeah.
Trained as a carpenter and a mason. This comes right up your alley because you're trained as a carpenter and a mason. Trained as a carpenter and a mason, Nicholas Owen was a Jesuit lay brother. He built clever hiding places known as priest holes, to hide priests from the authorities who were searching for them. Could you imagine? During that time in England, they're searching for a priest to kill them. The priest holes were masterfully designed and hidden within homes of Catholic families. Owen created secret rooms, hidden passages, and false walls that were to be well crafted. They often went undetected by even the most thorough searches. Mm-hmm. Wow. And that's well over 400 years ago. He was so committed to the mission that even after he was captured and tortured, he went back to work immediately upon release. Wow. It is believed that Owen, who prayed and asked God to bless his work and protect those he was helping, saved lives of 100 of priests. He helped provide safety and hope to members of the Catholic underground for more than 20 years. Rene, the former nun, was in the French resistance, which is the French underground.
Yeah.
In 1606, wow, well over 400 years ago, Owen was captured once again. He found himself back in the Tower of London, and this time he would not get out alive. Despite being tortured, he never revealed the secrets of his work, thereby protecting other priests. Nicholas Owen was canonized October 25th, 1970, as one of the 40 martyrs of England and Wales. So Wales, which you spent, this is where the stories tie in.
Yeah.
So Wales, where you spent a lot of time in, they were killing Catholics in the 1600s. Now Wales in England is predominantly Catholic.
Oh yeah.
It's funny.
Nice. Wales is nice.
And obviously today is a feast day of Nicholas Owen. He is a patron saint and illusionist. So that's wonderful. So that's what happened today in the Catholic Church. Well, we're reading your book for the second time, and I'll need your dog tag number to open up the list.
420965.
Okay. We're on chapter 3, and this is very important. You're in the Army. This is Mr. Jeckovich, about third month in the Army, and let's see what's going on there. Yeah. You're lucky you weren't in the 106th.
Pacific. I want to go to Pacific.
And you weren't lucky. You were lucky you weren't in the 106th.
Oh yeah, 106. Yeah.
97% of casualties, right behind Mr. Jeckovich. While the losses of the 106th were so much greater, that the 75th can only be explained by the severity in which we engaged the enemy. But more on the subject later. As the trucks approached the headquarters, the sound of military band could be heard. Sure enough, they were performing for our benefit, and I was emotionally moved by this expression of adulteration. And thank you. Instead of us being the only replacements, we emerged into a larger group of perhaps several thousand troops. We were formed into some kind of formation and were ushered into the post theater for a briefing and the orientation. At the briefing, we were told that our moving days were over. Okay, so now you jump from like 4 bases by now.
Yeah.
In your second month, and they're told your moving days are over. That's good news, right? Notice you want to keep moving. Okay, we're told that our moving days are over. We were formed into a small kind of formation and were ushered into the post theater for a briefing and orientation. At the briefing, we're told that our moving days were over. That's great news. This is the 75th Division and was our outfit until we could eventually go overseas with it. We then would cordially and sincerely welcome into our new assignment. We followed what was processing and informational procedure. We were told that our specific duties would be and where they would be located. I was assigned to the H Company, 291st Regiment of the 2nd Battalion. As we waited for the trucks to carry us to the new location, I noticed there were about 100 men going to the same company that I was. They were all formerly Air Corps ASTP and unattached. I thought of the 106th at Camp Swift and wondered if fate had finally caught up with me. I was destined to once again to be thrown into a makeshift outfit and ultimately venture overseas with them. The camp had all the characteristics of the previous installations. It had been again, it was a typical Army camp, but what made it unique was it was only 300 miles from home and the same time zone. So you made a big circle right back to near Niagara Falls, New York. Coming into company area, we were told to leave our equipment beside the road and go into the mess hall for noon chow. Inside the mess hall, there were perhaps only 50 men, so seating was no problem. All the men were very congenial and wanted to know all about us. We were from what outfits and we previously were and how we liked our new surrounding. They were recently inducted into the Army with probably, at most, 6 to 8 months active service. The non-coms had several years service, and there were several Army with many years of service. What I saw of the officers was that they're all very young, mostly in their 20s, and all seemed friendly and informal. After chow, we formed up beside our equipment and told our barracks assigned, as well as our platoon and squad. I was in the 1st platoon, 2nd squad, and so before I was billeted downstairs close to the front entrance of the barracks. The rest of the first day occupied with readjustments and grooming. What this consisted of firstly was completely refitted with our proper fitting clothes. So after these first 3 months, you didn't have clothes that fit.
Yeah.
They gave you anything, right?
Yeah.
They gave you anything.
Yeah, you went to the tailor now.
Now they give you something that fits, right?
Yeah.
Everything we were issued was turned in for clothes and shoes that were fit us exactly. What do you think they did with the clothes you turned in?
They probably gave it to some outfit, some other outfit, bigger guy.
Brush it up and get
Yeah.
it out, right? Okay. It was a relief to get rid of these oversized shoes. How could you walk with oversized shoes?
Yeah, well, they got the wrong size there.
How did you go jogging with oversized shoes?
No, they corrected it. They corrected it.
And the other ill-fitting clothing, there was an issue to us at Upton. Minutes, please. Next, we were taken to the barber shop for regulation 75th Division haircut.
16.
What's a regulation 75th?
Cut short.
Cut short? Which was not too eccentric. Our next stop was an introductory meeting with our officers and non-coms. Our company commander was Captain Goodnight. How was Captain Goodnight?
He was an all-star football player.
A former halfback at Texas A&M, he was a medium build with a large neck and tremendous forearms. After we gave us a little talk, one felt that here was a man that we could feel comfortable with and going into combat with, and that he would look.
He never went.
He never went to combat.
Never went.
That one man we could feel comfortable going into combat with, and that he would look after you to the best of his ability and resources.
Never went.
I knew everyone in the room took to him immediately. He was direct, honest, forthright, and sincere. What else could you want in a combat leader? So he never went to war.
No, never went.
What happened when you guys had to go to war? Where'd he go?
Probably stayed there and recruited people coming in.
Yeah. The executive officer was First Lieutenant Cummings. How was he?
Yeah, Italian. It's Italian, yeah.
Was a different story. He gave us the impression that he was talking down to us. And it's he was more important things to do than talk to a bunch of recruits and replacements.
Typical Italian.
Yeah. He gave the standard officer to enlisted man speech, respect, strict obedience to orders, and mostly military courtesy.
Say, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, everything. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir.
We found out later he was a West Point graduate, and we understood more of where he was coming from. My platoon leader, Second Lieutenant Conti, how was he?
Conti was an Italian guy, too.
Okay.
He was pretty good, yeah.
Was a draftee. Most of us were product of the Lower East Side of New York City. Having taken ROTC while in college, studying for an engineering degree, he was drafted into the Army in his third year. He was sad to be no-nonsense type of officer. The other officers who led the 3 platoons were the same caliber and only differed in their various personalities and idiosyncrasies. They were all former ROTC in their third or last year in college, and all were drafted into service within the last year or so. The non-coms were a much more mixed and varied assortment. Coming naturally from different walks of life, there was First Sergeant Whalen. How was he?
Sergeant was an old guy. Never went overseas or nothing. He just stayed where he's at right now. Well, he got discharged.
A big but not robust, tall, red-faced Irishman from the Bronx. He looked like a typical New Yorker and walked with a decided limp, which made some us curious how he got into the service. How do you get into service with a limp?
Well, he was an ROTC. He was in New York. He was an ROTC, so he just carried on with it. That's all.
He was the most atypical soldier of all the cadre, with the possible exception of Tex Sergeant Rupert. How was Rupert?
So Rupert is an older guy, yeah.
My platoon sergeant. First Sergeant Whalen was the CEO of a medium-sized company in the Bronx. And right after Pearl Harbor, he enlisted in the Army as a private. How he attained the rank of First Sergeant in the infantry company was much to his credit, as it was.
Well, he was in the mail office. He got the inside. He stuck over the upper echelon to get the job. Yeah, that's politics.
Okay. Tech Sergeant Rupert was a regular Army, and I believe he served in the First World War. He was exceedingly close to retirement and somehow managed to obtain a waiver to stay in for duration. He was a slender build, and I do not believe he weighed over 100 pounds.
Yeah, he was a skinny guy, yeah. He didn't go anywhere. He stayed right there. He didn't go over it. He didn't go over with us.
So all these guys never went over?
Yeah.
Soaking wet, 100 pounds. But gave all indications of a tough old bird who could take anything the Army dished out. So is that true? He was a good fighter or something?
Who?
You say he's a tough old bird. What do you mean by that?
Oh, well?
Yeah.
Well, he spent most of his life in the Army.
He did not wear his uniform in strict sense of the word. Rather, he wore it unmilitary-like. How do you wear a uniform unmilitary-like?
Military.
You said he did not wear his uniform in the strict sense of the word. He wore his uniform unmilitary-like.
Well, he was an oddity. They let him put him because he's not going anywhere.
Staff Sergeant Flood, how was he?
Well, he was typical GI.
Staff Sergeant Flood was our section leader and I believe regular Army. He was complete embodiment of the platoon sergeant should be, well-mannered, disciplined, and versed in his duties. Although he somewhat subdued in his approach, we knew he meant business. How about Buck Sergeant Baker?
Baker, he was from, he was a rebel. He couldn't understand. He had the stupid rebel wang. Baker, he didn't go far either.
You have a great memory. Oh my God. Buck Sergeant Baker was my squad leader and all the officers and non-coms. I liked him the least. He was from Alabama, just like you said, and when he talked, it was if he had a mouthful of cotton,
Yeah.
like how would he talk? What kind of sounds?
Yeah, he didn't go anywhere. He didn't
What
go.
kind of sounds would he make like?
Huh?
What kind of sounds did he make like?
No,
You couldn't understand a damn thing.
no. He didn't go far. He didn't go with us nowhere.
He did not instill any sense of leadership in me or the rest of the squad. He was unsure of his job and relied mostly on his rank and authority, not any true leadership ability to convey directives to us. Although he took his job very seriously, he did not achieve any sense of rapport with the men of his squad. We suffered disastrous results because of it. The enlisted men were just as varied and diversified as the officers and non-coms. All were draftees, but most were from a select groups, and the Army determined they had qualifications from the norm, much as the case with the 106th Infantry. Firstly, I must mention that the H Company was a heavy weapons company. That's what you're in, heavy weapons.
Yeah, heavy weapons, yeah.
That meant our table of organization was such that we equipped with 30 caliber water-cooled machine guns, 81 millimeter mortars, as opposed to air-cooled light machine guns, and 60 millimeter mortars, standard in a regular rifle company. Usually a section, 2 squads would support the rifle company with 81 millimeter mortars or heavy machine guns. Private First Class Fink, how was he?
Fake.
Fink.
He got out of service. He was a nervous wreck.
Okay. Private First Class Fink, the gunner of our squad, had joined the division while on maneuvers in Louisiana. Previous to be stationed at Breckinridge, he had come out of an ASTP program with 2 years of college before being drafted. He wanted to be a school teacher, and he had plans to put on hold for the duration. Fink was a likable fellow who always had a cheerful, optimistic outlook on all our tribulations. Private First Class Goki. How's Goki?
Kofi was, he's from Bronx, New York. He's not Army man. He's not Army, typical Army, you know.
Private First Class Goki, the assistant governor, was something else. Although transferred from the ASTP, he gave the impression he had a profound IQ, but mostly the Army, which hated his passion. He, like many in the company, he was somewhere in lower New York and spoke with a distinct accent. How about Private Varela?
Varela? He was Italian from New York.
Also from New York, was from an unattached unit and did not have much time in the Army. He was somewhat apathetic, but would listen to instructions, even though he got no desire to succeed in the Army.
Now who was this?
Varela.
Varela, yeah.
How about Private Spatsta?
Pasta?
Yeah.
Typical Italian.
Also from New York and from an unattached unit, was a product of the East Side. He was the most disciplined member in our squad. He had no conception of authority. It was only his manipulative and unscrupulous behavior that kept him in the stay from the guardhouse, kept him away from the guardhouse. Minutes, please.
Six.
You want to answer some questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
We got a lot of questions. When did you want to become a writer, Mr. Jeckovich?
A writer?
Yeah.
I was writing when I was in junior high school.
So you've always been a writer.
Yeah.
Mr. Jeckovich, how high can you jump?
How high can I jump? Probably 3 feet, and that's it.
Okay. Have you ever stood up for anyone?
So, I mean, stood up.
And like a best man in a wedding?
Do I say again?
Did you ever stood up for anyone like a best man in a wedding?
Yeah, for Stevie Billy. Stevie. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, what do you think is worse? Failing or never trying?
Never trying.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, we've seen you on the video many times wearing glasses, sunglasses. Do you wear sunglasses indoors all the time?
I'm starting to wear them down here because my eyes are bothering me if I don't.
So you wear sunglasses indoors now?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, have you ever stiffed a waiter for bad service? Have you ever stiffed a waiter for bad service?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, when you were a boy, the toys were basic then, mostly playing in the dirt. But could you do back then, when you were a boy, 10 revolutions of a hula hoop?
Yeah, that was a girl's thing, mostly, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, do you have any enemies?
Enemies?
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Okay, good. Mr. Jeckovich, do you hoard anything?
A hoard?
Hoard anything?
No.
No.
I save some stuff, but I don't hoard them.
Okay.
Then I forget where the hell I put them.
That's funny. Uh-huh. 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 Well, speaking of that, what is the most expensive thing you ever lost, Mr. Jeckovich?
Most of the stuff I saved, my father.
Okay, you lost father. When you were a jogger, Mr. Jeckovich, how fast could you run?
I didn't have a down arm. I ran the mileage. I didn't run the speed.
You're right for speed, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Jeckovich, do you ever think during your lifetime there'll ever be a cure for cancer?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, what is your favorite aisle in the supermarket?
Aisle?
Aisle in the supermarket.
The aisle?
Yeah, what aisle do you like to?
I say the vegetables, fruit and vegetables.
Mr. Jeckovich, do you prefer cats or dogs?
I don't either.
That's funny. Mr. Jeckovich, you still know how to ride a bike?
The bike? A bicycle?
Still know how to ride a bicycle.
I could probably, I used to deliver papers on a bike, 150 papers, General Assistance.
Oh, okay. What type of paper was that?
Pollock paper.
Polish
Yeah.
paper? I see. Were they nice people?
Oh, nice people, but they didn't want to pay.
Just under 2 minutes.
Why don't they want to pay?
Well, they were cheap.
Mr. Jeckovich, what is your favorite type of casserole?
Casserole?
Yeah.
Probably stuffed cabbage.
Okay. You don't have to answer this question. This came in from Allentown, Texas. Have you ever been arrested?
No.
No. Do you correct people's mistakes?
Correct people's mistakes?
Yeah.
All depends what I'm doing with them or whatever we're working on.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, have you ever had your prayers answered?
My prayers answered?
Yeah.
Actually, I never prayed for something.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, have you ever had plastic surgery?
Had plastic surgery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had plastic surgery?
On my face, yeah.
What was that for?
I had skin cancer.
Okay, but you didn't have cosmetic plastic surgery to make you look younger.
No.
Okay.
You just peel the skin off and let it go in.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, have you ever slapped someone?
Slapped?
Slapped someone?
No.
No. Minutes?
30 seconds.
Wow. The last one is, Mr. Jeckovich, when was the last time you went to the beach?
Last time I went to the beach?
Yeah.
Probably at Fort Niagara.
How many years ago was that?
I was probably 20 years old.
So you haven't been to a beach a long time.
No.
But even though you live next to the beach, you don't go?
Well, I'm afraid of the sun.
Afraid of the sun.
All right,
So, you're just not a beach person. Was your wife a beach person?
No.